Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and today we're going to be wire wrapping a raw crystal. This is a little raw amethyst crystal here, and we're going to be using just one piece of round wire to do this. So if you want to see how I made this, just keep watching. So the stone I'm going to be wrapping is this little raw amethyst cluster. It's like two little crystals, and it is really hard to measure because it's so irregular, but I think it's just a smidge over half an inch, or maybe like 14 millimeters, 14 millimeters, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the exact size. That's the thing about these kinds of stones. They're going to be very irregular, and the difficult thing about wrapping them is you kind of have to go with the flow and play it by ear. Your stone is going to be different than mine, and I can only kind of show you how I did it for my stone, but you may need to make some adjustments. So the wire that I'm using is actually a very thin wire, but I find that it works well for this, and it still produces a good sturdy pendant. So this is round wire. This is artistic wire in the color rose gold. It's 24 gauge. You can use just like solid raw copper wire like this, 24 gauge as well, and it does work well, but if you had to compare the two, this one's a little bit firmer for whatever reason. And if your stone is much bigger, you can size up to a 22 gauge. But then after that, if you get into really thick wires, it becomes difficult to do this design. So this design works better with thinner wires. So let's measure. We need a really long piece. And this is all we're gonna need, just this one wire. All right, how long it is. I cut it extra long because there's like little swirls and stuff, and you never know. Sometimes you run out of wire if you have to do a few more. So it's about 31.5 inches. I'll just say 32 just because let's do a round number. I want to write a round number in the material. So I'm folding it in half. And now you need, so this is kind of the middle part from folding it. You need something round to wrap it around to make the bail. So I'm using these bail making pliers because I have them on hand and they're really easy, but you can literally just use like a pencil. You don't have to buy special pliers just for this. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the wire and I'm wrapping it around. So now we have 2 wraps, and now we have 3. That's all you do. Then you can just remove it. And the nice thing about this design is these coated wires with metal tools like pliers and such, it's easy to scratch off the coating, but there's very minimal amount of tools used in this video, so it's really nice because you're not going to risk scratching off the coating if that always happens to you. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these 2 wires. Let me zoom in actually. Ooh, there we go. Taking these 2 wires, here they are, one on each side, and I'm having them kind of, they crisscross each other naturally, and I'm doing a little twist. Let's twist all the way around. Like that. And by doing the twist, we've connected the wires. And so here's our bail. And then here's our connecting wire. So now you want to take your stone, you want to position it how you want to see it. So this will be the front of the pendant. So like this, I want the bail to just be right in here, just like that. And now I want to look at the back of it. So on the back of it here, we want to make kind of opening with these wires here for the back to sit on, like this. And then we're going to twist again, completely all the way around so it stays. So now our stone can kind of sit on that little back portion that we made. And now our wires, we're going to bring them on the side of the stone and we're gonna just bring it up the sides like this. Don't have it be too far back. Have it be just right on these visible sides here. Okay, maybe a little bit towards the front so you can kind of see the wires like this. We're gonna take one wire at a time and we're just gonna wrap it around the bail. So bringing it to the back and then just all the way around the bail until it's facing me, pointing towards me. Now this one as well. So it's going first to the front of the bail, then it's going behind it, and then we're just bringing it all the way around until it's pointing towards me. Now both of these wires are pointing towards me. And what you want to do is you just want to bring them together so they are side by side and there isn't a large gap in between them. It's okay if your bail kind of starts pointing in the wrong direction. We can just fix it later. It's not a problem. So what we're going to do now, once you have your wires lined up side by side, is we're going to keep them side by side like this, and we're going to make a little swirl. So feel free to kind of play around with your swirl, whether you want it to be more rounded, or mine's kind of turning out to be a little bit of an oval, hoping to get it more of a round shape here. You can use your pliers. I know I kind of mentioned earlier that metal tools can scratch the wire, and they can, and that is a problem with coated wires. But that doesn't mean that you can't just very gently come in and still use them. Like that didn't scratch off the coating. There we go, finally. The swirl is now nice and rounded how I wanted it to go. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just kind of turn it, give it a little curve, and it's gonna go in this direction here like this. So what we're doing is, as of right now, because these wires are on the side of your stone may seem fairly secure, especially with this little swirl kind of holding it on the front, but theoretically I could, if I really wanted to, push it through the front. So what we're going to do is trap it in by making swirls like this along these edges that are gonna kind of capture it from the front, okay? Because from the back it's fine. From the back, it's already been captured. You can't fit through this little tiny hole here. So the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna take our wires and we're gonna put it underneath, just work it underneath that side edge wire. That's how we're gonna make sure that these little swirls that we're making stay connected and stay on the edge. You have to wrap it around that side edge wire for them to stay put. So my wires are getting a little twisted, so I'm just gonna very slowly and carefully pull them through. So you want to press here when you're pulling them through, because if you just yank it, it might misshape this whole thing. So the key to this design is to just go very slow and very careful, just a little bit at a time. So now we got it through. Here's what it looks like. And now we can make another little swirl here. All right. And that's going to go down the side like this. So this is one of those things where the placement of your swirls and the size and shape of your swirls is entirely up to you. And all of these pendants will turn out looking quite different. Like even if I tried to replicate this, it'll probably turn out looking a little bit different. So now I'm just making another swirl. So we're on the bottom now of the stone. I haven't connected this yet. I'm just making the swirl. So you can either connect and then make the swirl, or make the swirl and then connect. It's totally up to you. So I'm just trying to get the swirl to be a shape that I like. All right, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take my wires. There's a nice little gap that I can easily fit them through, just right here. Oh, they don't want to go through there. And again, just feeding them through little by little. Don't pull hard. It might undo your swirl if you pull really hard at it. So just use your fingers to push that in. You can use pliers to help as well, but just be really careful, or use nylon pliers. I'm thinking that I will maybe make another swirl here. Let's see if that would look good or not. Yeah, maybe if I make it a little bit more pronounced. So let me tighten this up. And then make the swirl in this direction so you'll be able to see it better from the front. Like you can kind of see this one. These bottom ones are kind of hidden. So if I hold it like this, I can see there's like a little gap. And if you don't like the look of that, you can just push down on that to hide it. All right, so I'm just making another swirl here. All right, and I think that looks good from the front. And as you can see, we're trapping our stone now. So you don't want to have any like big empty spaces where the wires aren't going onto the front of the stone. See, this is going onto the front. And then you can even push on your stone to test to make sure that you're trapping it well enough from the front. So now I think I'm just gonna make another little swirl here. And then I'm going to wrap around, because I've now made those two swirls and I haven't wrapped around this edge wire yet to connect them. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually use my pliers here. I haven't really needed to up until now, but this wire here is forming this weird like little twist, and I can't really pull it through successfully just with my fingers. All right. There we go. That kind of messed up my swirl a little bit here. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. I think it's this wire that's messing everything up. There we go. All right, so now that we have that, it's going underneath the wire. Now we're just gonna flip it this way, like that. Kind of by doing that, we've wrapped around this edge wire and made that connection. And now, to finish it off, we can just wrap it around the bail. So here's our bail. Still have plenty of wire left. If you wanted to do more swirls anywhere else, you could. You can make this more swirly. So let's just trim our wires a little bit here. And what I'm gonna do, just so they're easier to work with, is I'm gonna put them through the bail. This time I am using my pliers because I can't do that with my fingers, and I'm just gonna wrap it around here, just wrapping it around the back of the bail. Then I'm gonna trim it after I've made that wrap. And now you do have to use your pliers again to tuck those little wire ends in there into your bail, and then we're just gonna very gently and carefully press down on those wire ends. All right, so we have connected our wire, hid away the wire ends. Now you can see my bail is pointing to the right, so I'm just going to straighten it out. And the bail is made of 3 wires, so it's up to you, but you could separate them a little bit. It'll just give you a slightly different look, like this. And that's it. Now I can put it on a necklace, and here's the finished little crystal. It's a pretty quick, easy way using just 1 piece of round wire that you can make yourself a raw crystal pendant. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.